What's good, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Virtual Turf Talk podcast. We have your boy Spruce Goose on here. I'm actually really excited about this one. How you doing, Spruce?
I'm great. How are you guys doing?
We're good. We're
I'm
good.
pretty good. Pretty good, honestly. This one was more interesting to me because we've talked to more so like guys that have competed. You more so really are on the content side, even though you have been streaming lately. You're more so on the content side of Madden. Like, how did that differentiate from the competitive side?
So, content side is definitely different because you're trying to reach a really wide audience. And
Mhm.
it's kind of something that if you go back and look at the history of my content, there was a little bit of a shift over time to where when I first started out, it was very like I was very super gameplay focused. I mean,
Yeah,
everything I do is gameplay focused. Like I'm not
yeah,
pulling packs or anything like that. But
mhm,
it was like I might break down like I played Skimbo in Weekend League back in Madden 21. I did a video, when I broke that down. I
yeah,
would do videos on like the best cover 3 bombs, cover 4
mhm,
bombs, like all things like that.
yeah,
And those are kind of very specific. And as my content grew and evolved over time, I realized that to reach a wider audience, you just have to appeal to more people.
yeah,
And so you have to try and make content that is valuable to everybody, whether you've been playing Madden for 10 years or whether you
mhm,
just bought Madden for the first time yesterday. My goal is that in every video, there is something valuable there for you. And that's why, like in the 20 tips video I just made, like
yeah,
a lot of those tips at the beginning, and I can't even say it in the intro, like I'm starting off at super basic tips, things
yeah,
like throw the ball away and side with your quarterback. If you've been playing Madden for a while, you obviously know that. But
yeah,
things later on in the video, especially like the scissor adjustment, where you like, man up the safety on the outside receiver and the outside corner on the
mhm,
running back, like that's like a pretty high level adjustment that like not a ton of people are doing. And so hopefully in every video there's something for everybody. But that really was something I had to kind of think about is when you think about the Madden player base, the comp side of it and being like the community on Twitch and stuff is just a small slice of the pie that makes up the total Madden player base. And so in my view, I was like, if I want to make videos that are going to get more views and perform better, they have
yeah,
to appeal to a wider audience.
Yeah. The first video, like I've only been playing Madden since like Madden 21, 22-ish, but maybe more 22 is what I'm referencing here, is that cover 3 video that you made,
Mm-hmm.
or it might have been cover 4 or something, because I was playing online, because Madden 22 was my first online one. And
Mm-hmm.
everybody was just spamming cover 4 every play. And I remember specifically, I would just look at your videos on just how to beat coverages like every single time,
Oh yeah, no,
because
I
nobody
loved
else knew.
making those. And it's funny because also coverage bombs, they've really tried to get out of the game at this point.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Like the organic pass rush is a lot stronger now. So there's usually not even time for those coverage bombs to develop.
yeah,
And even when they do work, like it's tougher to bomb cover 3 than it was in previous years. You definitely still can, but it's tougher this year than before. And you basically
yeah. It is.
can't bomb cover 4 drop anymore. They made
You can't
it
even.
really borderline impossible to do that.
Yeah,
So also, not only were those videos in the past kind of more specific, not really broad appeal, but also you couldn't really make those videos today anyway, just because how the game has evolved.
Yeah.
yeah. They definitely have done a definitely a better job. Well, I won't say better job, but like definitely emphasized more on so the organic pass rush, so you can't just sit back and just bomb those covers like you could in 22 and 21, where you could basically bomb anything if you had time.
Right. Oh yeah, the
Yeah,
zones are
but
still bad. It's
yeah, the
just
Oh,
zone's bad.
yeah,
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
still
zones are
bad.
yeah.
still
Let's call a
terrible.
spade a spade. I mean, it's funny because they tried to emphasize it in the trailer where they said they saw you saw what's it called? You saw I'm thinking of Tre'Davious White. You saw Tre'Davious White in a deep blue, and he came down and played across there. Like it was like one of the main things they
Yeah, that still
emphasized. And
doesn't
like
fucking work.
I got in the game and I was like, wait a minute. Okay, first off, you showed the first of all, you showed the wrong guy because he already has deep balls on KO. So of course he's gonna come down and play other things. Let's
Mhm.
show a regular corner coming out and doing
Oh
that without
yeah, no,
abilities.
those trailers are so they're all just marketing hype. I mean, they hyped up the Mahomes jumping
Yeah, I saw
side
Civil
throw.
I
talk
haven't got
about
one.
that, and you can't even
I
get
haven't
it.
got one.
Well, so what's funny is that in the beta, you could get it almost every single time. If you rolled out
Yeah,
with Mahomes and threw a crosser, you get it every single time. And
yeah,
so they just, I think it's a good thing they basically took it out of the game, because that was like a once in a lifetime throw from in the Super Bowl that they were replicating.
Yeah, and it wasn't even completed at that, right?
So
and then essentially, like, I think the whole thing was that it was extremely accurate every time you threw it, which is like not realistic.
Wasn't it glitched? Like every throw on the run was like
Mahomes
accurate?
was glitched. Any throw on the run Mahomes made was an accurate pass, which they patched in the last patch. But he still has like every Deadeye ability in the game, so he's probably.
I think the only thing he doesn't have. He should. I think I'm pretty sure he has PLE off rip. If I'm not mistaken, he has PLE. I know he has red zone Deadeye. I think he has no look Deadeye, and I think the last one he has is dash and Deadeye actually. So yeah, he doesn't have every Deadeye in the game. I mean, I didn't think that was necessarily an issue, because if you're going to give him every Deadeye in the game, I mean, he should be able to essentially make.
For sure.
If you don't want him to make every throw, then kind of take away some of those.
For sure. No, absolutely.
Yeah. But kind of getting into your channel, your channel actually started 3 years ago. How long have you actually been playing Madden before that, though?
So I told you guys a little bit ago before we started recording that my first Madden ever was Madden 2003. And that was when I was about 10 years old, playing on the PC with like a Logitech controller. And then I got a PS2. So I had Madden 05, 06, 07, Madden 09. And then I had Madden 09 on the Wii, which I do not recommend. Horrible gameplay experience. I could go on a whole rant about that. Horrible gameplay experience. But then I went to college and didn't really play Madden for a while. And it wasn't until Madden 19 that I got back into Madden. And even when I got back into Madden, it wasn't like I was a complete beginner, because I had played so much growing up. You know, I had some Madden skill left over, but it definitely took a little bit to adjust to how different Madden was in Madden 19 than it was when I last played in like Madden 09, Madden 10. And I basically just played online, like head-to-head regs on PC for Madden 19 and Madden 20. And it wasn't until the end of Madden 20, once COVID had hit, that I started streaming, and that kind of launched it. Shortly after I started streaming, I started the YouTube channel, and everything kind of slowly grew from there. So it's like, to answer the question, I've been playing since Madden 03, but with about like an 8 or 9 year gap in the middle.
Okay. Do you sorry. This is kind of like this is a question we got from one of our guys, TD Barrett, but he says you started on TikTok. Is that correct?
I'm going to say it's sort of correct. I'm going to say it's correct in that that's probably where most people heard about me first. In terms of like when the channels were created, my Twitch and TikTok were created first. But TikTok is where I grew before everything else. Like, I know Throne initially just knew me as a TikToker. And that's because it was in the fall, probably like fall, winter of like 2020, getting to 2021, is when I kind of first started the format, I guess, that I have now, that I've been doing for a while. Kind of like the really, I'm just gonna call it efficient way of like explaining something. Like my first TikTok to hit 1 million views, I think was breaking down. It was a smart route that Throne used to use in Strong Close. I think it was PA deep. He would motion over a crosser to make it kind of like a super deep corner route and smart route it. And so I made a video breaking that down. And I think I like my little like 2-second, headline at the start of the TikTok was "Be smart with your smart routes." And I just kind of explained it all efficiently. And that was the first TikTok I had that really kind of blew up, at least from what I remember. And
that's
so
kind of funny. Oh my bad,
so I was gonna say that my Twitch and my YouTube channel definitely existed before my TikTok, but like TD Bear said, most people probably first knew me on TikTok.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. You actually kind of going back, because low key, like when you said that you had, at least you had Madden 09 on the Wii. Madden 09 on the Wii. Yeah, it's funny. I actually had Madden 11 on the Wii, which is
also what it's like.
Yeah.
Those tackle battles, you have to shake the controller.
It's not fun, man. It's not fun to play. It's completely different if you play. Because I mean, I know for me, I started playing around 07 when Sean Alexander was on the cover. And then I know '08, I played with the big, I don't know if you guys remember the big PlayStation where you had the big writing on it. It was like the PS3, but it was the PlayStation, and you had the 3 on it. Like, that was when I first started playing. Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah,
remember
the first edition PlayStation 3 that most people probably don't even have. Yeah, then I started playing. I finally got my own Madden in Madden 10, which were Paul Malou and Larry Fitzgerald on the cover.
Yep.
It was the actual PS3. But yeah, I've been playing Madden for a minute myself. I know Oliver, you ain't been playing at all. You kind of a casual in this whole thing. You know?
No, I'm not, but it's okay.
Yeah, you're a Kobe
It's
baby.
fine.
You're a Kobe baby. It's okay. It's okay.
It's not,
Hey
it's
man,
not.
we all start somewhere.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's weird, right? Because okay, what did you do growing up if you didn't play Madden?
I didn't. I was always a Halo guy. I got my Xbox 360 when I was I was like, actually, the funny thing is that I was raised in England, so soccer football is the world sport. So obviously, I was raised with soccer in mind, and I got FIFA '08 on the Wii on the Wii. Right?
God, I can't imagine.
No,
Oh,
my
God.
dad used to play for like 5 minutes and just toss the controller, like, or the little the Wii controller across the room.
Yeah.
Dude,
But
man, FIFA's intense.
oh yeah, no, I didn't know what the hell was going on. I just knew my team, and I was like, I'm gonna play as my team, but I probably never won a game. But I got my Xbox, and this is like a really weird story, but it was only the ever game I could ever play on that Xbox because the first day I got that Xbox 360, my brother put some salt candy, like Pop Rocks or like something. He put it in my disk drive so it would never open up again.
Nice.
It never opened up. I had Halo 3 stuck in there forever. And that was the only game I could ever play. That was for like 5 years, maybe. That was the only game I ever played.
My brother's a demon.
You must have been really good at Halo 3.
Man, for real.
I don't even know.
Man, that's crazy though. We're kind of getting back into the main focus of the episode. What made you start to YouTube channel? Because you said you started over COVID. Like, what was the whole reason behind it? Because you could have just easily stayed on TikTok and Twitch.
No, that's a great point. Why did I start my YouTube channel? I think at the time when I was starting to get into Twitch and playing Madden more, I was still working at Delta as an engineer, and I wanted to try and find a way to just start a side hustle, find a way to make money that wasn't, outside my normal job. And I knew that YouTube was a way to do that. Now, I didn't know the first thing about doing YouTube, or I knew a little bit of editing, and that's about it.
Yeah.
But I basically told myself, even though I don't really know how to do this, I think that just creating something is the first step in the process. Just pressing upload and putting something out there in the world is the first step in the process. And if you can get in the habit of doing that, then you can, maybe one day be able to turn into something real. And that's why I still encourage people to do to this day. Like, I actually have friends who are like, I want to start a YouTube channel, but I don't know what to make a video on, and this and that and all these excuses. And I'm like, man, just upload something, because guess what? The first thing you upload, no one's going to see it. And the second thing and third thing and fourth thing, no one's going to see it. And it'll also, like, if you're making, like, trying to make an actual YouTube video and like edit it and effects and narration and all this stuff, like, the reality, it's going to be bad. Like, go back and look at my first videos. They are, I don't want to curse. They are,
no, you can curse. We curse.
They are dog shit. My first videos. They're terrible. But that's just part of starting the creative journey. And so to answer your question, like, what got me to start, is like, I wanted to at least have the possibility one day of having a side hustle or maybe even a job as a creator. And I just felt like I have to start creating something to get myself in that creative mindset and hopefully get myself on that track. And so that's why I started a YouTube channel. And I mean, it shows in the beginning that I had no clue what I was doing, because I was uploading just anything and everything, just random stuff. But over time, like, two things happen. One, you figure out, you get better at editing, narration, all of that stuff. And two, you figure out what kinds of videos you enjoy making. And 3, you figure out what kind of videos people are enjoying watching, right? Because if the goal is to grow, you need to make videos that people want to watch. If you're doing it just for yourself, then just make videos you enjoy making, and that's all fine. If you want to grow, you do need to figure out like what does the audience want to watch. And so you figure out those 3 things once you just start uploading and just get in the habit of doing that.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're doing right now.
Yeah, it's funny because you talk about the creative process and the sucking. I'm kind of going through that right now. I think the last video we uploaded, I tried to think with the I try to put the boxes around like our pictures and stuff, and then like I mean it was it's a little chunky. It's a little chunky. I ain't gonna lie. It's a little chunky. And like today, I asked, I was like, okay, like does this look better? Does not look better? I asked the guys in the chat. I was like, oh, they were all like, okay, yeah, like we like, we don't like the necessarily the boxes, but like kind of like the way that you did the background. I was like, okay, that's cool. Like you're always learning something new. You learn what people like, what looks good, that type of thing. So I'm definitely going through that right now.
Spent like 30 minutes making the background for like 2 episodes, and they said it was too, what was it? It was too hot or something. It was too bold.
It was actually somewhere around the color of yours. It's kind of like the color of yours, but it was like more bright.
I spent like 30 minutes just like on Photoshop making that, and they were like, just make it black. Just make it black.
Oh yes, no, that you never know. What's so funny, you mentioned that, like my most recent video breaking down Henry's offense, so from the Ultimate Kickoff tournament like a month ago. That video, I initially had a completely different title and thumbnail because so a little background is a year ago, I made a video breaking down Henry's offense from last year's Ultimate Kickoff tournament. It's the best video I've ever had on my channel. And it kind of established a little bit of we'll call it a meta with YouTube thumbnails, in that there were a lot of people who kind of used a similar style after that. And so this year when Henry won the tournament again, a lot of YouTube videos popped up from different creators with pretty similar thumbnails. And I felt like I need to stand out, because last year this thumbnail was original, but this year it looks like all the other thumbnails. And so I tried a completely different title and thumbnail and spent probably spent at least an hour or 2 trying to decide on what to do. And when I posted that video, you know how if you guys go in like your YouTube studio, it'll tell you like where your video ranks compared to the last 10.
Yeah, like a 10 out of 10, 5 out of 10. Yeah.
It was the worst 10 out of 10 I've ever had in my life. And in a panic, I made the title and thumbnail as similar as possible to last year's. And now the video has over 400,000 views. So
that's crazy.
It just goes to show, it's like you can do what you think is right, but ultimately the viewers will decide what is right. And you can make your best guess, but ultimately they're going to decide, not us.
I'm just trying to, I'm always realizing how much like I watch your videos sometimes, because I've even in Mutt right now, I use that video to like, I'm still using Eagles playbook from like whenever you made that video, because I wanted to know like, oh, Henry's actually, half decent at the game. I wonder what offense he's running. And then your video popped up, and that was the video that I've been using.
He's okay.
For Mutt. It's all right.
Yeah, no. Eagles playbook is the best playbook in the game. That's what John Beast was using a couple nights ago.
When he won. So we kind of want to talk a little bit about the content creating. Like, what made you start making content around learning the game or breaking down schemes essentially? What made you get into that realm? Because for me, like, I wouldn't say you're kind of the originator of that. I didn't see many like that. I didn't see many videos like yours before. So I would definitely count you as the originator of that type of video making. Like what made you get into that? Like, what came with the idea with that?
It's a great question, and I wish I could say more than trial and error. Kind of to talk, kind of go back to what we were talking about before. If you go back and look at my early videos, it's not like day one I was like, I'm gonna do Madden education content. I was at the time looking at what everyone else was doing, which was you play the game. And I tried doing videos of me playing the game, and they didn't work very well. They probably still have less than 1,000 views 3 years later. But one day, and again, I couldn't even tell you why I tried it, but it was probably I made like a top 5 cover 3 bombs video. It was probably just from looking around YouTube and being like, there's a lot of channels that make lists, top 5, top 10, top 20. It's a very common type of video across all of YouTube.
Yeah.
And also, I probably just kind of thought of it because, when I'd be streaming, probably for like 5 to 10 people, not that many people, but, they would ask me like, oh, what was that cover 3 bomb you ran? And I'd be like, oh, it was this. And I'd run a different one later in the stream. They'd be like, oh, what was that? And I was like, oh, it was this. And I was just kind of like, I could just kind of package these in a video and put it on YouTube. And those ended up being my best performing videos. Top 5 cover 3 bombs, top 5 cover 4 bombs, probably did cover 2 bombs. And because those were my best performing videos, eventually, not right away, but eventually I was kind of like, well, this is what the audience wants to see from me. I should keep making more of this. Something I heard not too long ago is that, each of us has a unique advantage and we need to lean into that advantage. And so, like, if you take Throne, for example, Throne is extremely entertaining. I mean, he's good at the game, but there's a lot of people that are good at the game. What makes Throne unique is that he's extremely entertaining. That's why people watch. That's his advantage. And so he leans into it. I am not that entertaining. Like, I don't think I'm the most boring person ever, but if I tried to make content like Throne does, that wouldn't be the right move for me because I wouldn't be leaning into what my advantage is, right? And so I think my advantage is just teaching the game. And maybe that comes from, my past doing engineering at Delta. I did a lot of technical writing. And so my job was to explain things very concisely and kind of in like a step-by-step format. And so I kind of think maybe that's where I got, we'll call it the training for what ended up being like the Madden education type video. And so that was my advantage. And so eventually when those started getting views, I was like, well, I got to lean into that.
Yeah. Kind of a trend we've been asking a lot of the people that have been coming on, like, because we all know you guys make Madden for content as well. But like, do you play the game at all if you're not making content, like competitively or casually?
Oh yeah, I play a lot.
Yeah.
Like I think that if I'm going to teach the game, I need to be pretty good at the game. Yeah. And it's like I was just streaming the game last night for like 4 hours, and I think that people maybe think I'm bad at the game because I had a guy come in challenge me to a $50 money game. I said, all right, took his 50. Someone else challenged me for 25, took his 25. Another person challenged me for 25, I took his 25. So I was like, I'll take it, man. No, I try to be really in tune with the meta. I mean, I run an ebook site as well, so I have to know what's going on in the game. If I was bad at the game, I would feel like a fraud teaching the game to people. Now, I'm not saying I'm Henry good, but I think I can hold my own pretty well.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I think as viewers, like you talked about, like, those guys coming in your chat, I think as viewers, we all kind of fall into that little bit of a trap thinking, okay, like, hey, like I see this guy play every day. I can beat him. I'm better than him. I know for me, I don't know about you, Oliver, but I thought that way with TD. I was like, okay, like TD's not that good. He's not that good. He's not that good. I can beat him. I came in my first ever league with him, met him in the playoffs. He beat me. He beat the hell out of me. I had the Chiefs suit. I had Mahomes. He beat me with the no, it wasn't Egypt. It was the ones he had in 22. The Mounties, the Toronto Mounties.
Oh yeah, the Toronto Mounties.
Nice.
Yeah, I remember that.
He beat the
I
nice.
remember exactly my first game. I don't want this to turn into a TD thing, but it was very humbling, is what I'm saying. Just like playing content creators and how good it's kind of like, professional athletes. You see them play basketball. Like you see LeBron James playing, and compared to maybe like other NBA players, he might not look incredible, but if I was to play against LeBron James, right, you'd be able to tell the difference, right?
Yeah. But, for sure.
When I played TD, right, I got into the league, and it was me and 2 of my other friends, right? It was Blitz and EJ, because they're probably watching. But he got in, right? My friend Blitz, he played TD first game, 28-0, right? My friend EJ played. It's funny because they were all the same scores. It was 28-0. against my friend.
Nice.
20, and then it was 28-0 me. And then that was he just ran through the three of us, and he was like, "Wow, all three of you guys joined, but you all lost 28-0. That's crazy."
No, he's super good at the game, and especially in his case, his content is around him playing the game, right?
Yeah.
And so, probably even more so, he needs to make sure he stays on top of things because, and granted, I do think that, people also just like his personality enough that even if he was losing a lot, I think people would still watch, but he's a competitive guy.
He has been recently, but
I gotcha. But he's just gonna always try to like stay on top of things. He really wants to win, so he's always gonna kind of always be kind of in tune with the meta and everything like that.
Sorry.
I played him once this year, and I actually kind of beat him pretty good. But like I don't want to count it because he was doing his like game with every team series. He had the Browns and I had the Bills. And just the Bills are just an objectively better team. Yeah. So it's just kind of like you can't really draw anything from that.
Brett, this is no excuse because I know you're watching this. This is no excuse. You should have won that. This is absolutely no excuse.
No, I mean, dude, I'm sure he was playing 32 of these games, so he's had to get the games in.
Yeah. Whereas was that the long video, the 32 teams video from like last year, or was it this year?
It was one of the games. It was one of the games this year. He would do like 3 games at a time.
Okay.
Yeah, we kind of talking more so gameplay wise. So we know Madden recently went through a big update, the season 2 update. We all know. Like, how do you feel about the game before and post patch? Do you feel like it's gotten worse? Do you feel like it's good for the community? How do you feel about it?
That's a great question because last night on stream I was raging at the game because of drop picks. I think that drops. There's 2 major things I think that are horrible right now, which are drop picks and one that's less talked about because offense is kind of overpowered anyway, but bumping on offense is really bad. Just the bumping of receivers into each other, into defenders. And again, I'm not going to sit here and try and be like, oh, offense needs to be better, but it's more of just the bumping creates a lot of randomness and inconsistency that's not good for the game.
It does.
But the drop picks need to be addressed, especially I dropped multiple user picks in the money games yesterday, which was super annoying. But the biggest thing the patch addressed obviously was blitzes, right? And so before the patch, there were a ton of viable blitzes, and now there's dollar. There is kind of 3-4 odd. I don't really see 3-4 odd that much, but what I see a lot of people doing, at least in terms of comp wise, is just send 3 or send 4 and let the block sheds come in. You just slant that line inside and you get the disengages. And I mean, is it good for the game? Personally, I'm not a big fan of block shed offenses because once again, it's random. Sometimes they shed, sometimes they don't. And I just think that for a game to be good competitively, you want to minimize the randomness. But I know that it's also Madden, and so randomness is inevitable. I will say from watching the John Beast versus TJ game, TJ got hosed a couple times by the game. I felt pretty bad for him. And that's just the nature of Madden, but it was like John Beast was thrown into coverage. John Beast got an onside. There were a couple plays where it wasn't great. So in terms of the state of the game, whether was it better before the patch or after the patch? I'm going to say it's different. I'm going to say it's equal but different. I think that the loop blitz, some people liked the loop blitz because they're like, oh, it creates a skill gap because if you don't know how to block the loop blitz, then you just, that's just the knowledge gap thing. I don't think the loop blitz is particularly good for the game because it's just, I think it's just dumb. I mean, it also just looks ugly to see the guys looping around. Is the game better or worse after the patch? I'm going to say it's the same, but I will say that regardless, it's still better than last year. Last year was the worst Madden we've ever played, in my opinion.
It was terrible.
So yeah, the game has a lot it can improve upon, but it's better than last year. at least.
Have you noticed wide receivers dropping like wide open passes? Like there'll be nobody within like 20 yards of them, and it'll be like this. They'll catch it and then they'll just completely drop it. Have you
For
seen that?
me, no, because I use gift wrapped in Mutt. But if you don't have gift wrapped, which if you're a regs player or if you're in Mutt not using gift wrapped, they will drop it. And once again, that's also just horrible for the game.
Yeah.
Like just from a competitive standpoint, like if the crazy thing, and it kind of goes back to what we were talking about before, when you think about the competitive audience versus the casual audience, the broader audience. And it's also something that EA has to consider, because the competitive audience is going to be the loudest about things like that. But again, we make up a very small fraction of the player base. What's weird is that if you were to complain about that to the larger audience, to a casual audience, they would probably be like, well, drops happen in real life. Foster Moreau dropped the game-tying touchdown last night. They'd be like, it's realistic. And you have to just be like, keep that stuff in simulation, man. Yeah. That's why there's a simulation mode and a competitive mode. And in competitive mode, as much as possible, they should try to be reducing random chance. Open receivers should always catch the ball. Honestly, I'd be in favor of uncontested interceptions should always be caught. Like now, if it's in traffic, if it's a collision in the air, obviously all bets are off. But if the defender gets a free chance at catching the ball without any contact or anything, he should catch it every time. If you throw into coverage, or if I throw in the coverage, I should be punished for it every time.
It's funny. We was actually talking to W. He was complaining about the same thing with the DVs dropping. DVs dropping picks. It kind of forces you to get lurk artists for sure. It forces you to get those abilities that help you catch the football. Which in reality, I don't think pick artists should ever be a thing. I think that should just be automatic. But I mean, he's throwing it. It was funny. I actually was playing earlier. Actually, the last guy I was talking to the guy. I got it under pressure on Justin Herbert, and Quentin Johnson dropped the ball. Like he was wide open. It was under pressure on me. He caught the ball and he drops it. I'm like,
no
one was around him. I'm like, what did he drop the ball for?
No, I don't think EA even knows. And I don't know if they're quality testing the game before they release these patches, but it's not good. It's not good. And so all we can do is hope that the next patch fixes it. Obviously, the next patch will introduce something different. And that's just kind of the nature of Madden. We've been dealing with it every year. I remember a year ago. So like as someone who I really enjoy kind of like I have the most fun in the game when I can run off meta stuff. Like pistol strong option schemes are a blast for me. I went to Georgia Tech, when they were running the option. And so I think that's why it has a soft spot in my heart. And last year, especially in pistol formations, you could do like basically a dive up the middle with your running back, and your center would not block the nose tackle. He would target the linebacker behind him. And so the nose tackle would just come in free and tackle you in the backfield. I complained about it for the whole year, and it was just like, it just wasn't a priority that year. And so hopefully these things get fixed, but we have to mentally prepare ourselves that there's a chance we deal with it the entire year, because that has happened before.
See, I do that all the time because like halfback draws are like broken in my opinion, because again with the nose tackle, because I was playing TD like 30 minutes ago, right? And he has like the whole point is that he had a shitty team, right? And his D tackle was maybe like a 64 whatever, and then I'm running with Jonathan Taylor, right? And I have Quentin Nelson, right, as my right guard, because I moved him over right to block that guy, and I do a halfback draw right up the middle, and he completely ignores him, and then the nose tackle just comes in and tackles me for like -5.
Yeah, blocking logic is it's much better than last year, but it's still in a really bad spot. And like last year's was horrendous. This year's is like there'll be random issues, but it is a much better spot. I know that they have it's a tough task to code that stuff. Like, and that's what I think kind of gets into the root of all these issues, is that football is a complicated game. And the reality is that you can control one person on the field, and you have 10 AI players on the field with you. And there's always going to be gaps in the AI, exploits in the AI. And that's also why there will always be a meta, and we'll never have a true realistic simulation game, which is what a lot of people want. Like if you go into my YouTube comments or TikTok comments, it's tons of people being like, this is why Madden's not a real simulation. And I saw him be like, it's not. And you can enjoy the game much better if you accept it for what it is, which is a football video game rather than a football simulation.
Do you think a lot of the people who like my bad. Anyways, do you think the the casual audience is more of the people that want the realistic like football game? Because I feel like a lot of the good
absolutely
people,
absolutely the casual audience wants, here's what they say they want. They want a realistic football simulation that rewards real football knowledge and strategy. And it's maybe a hot take, especially with the casual audience, but I do not think that's what they actually want. And the example that I always use is Call of Duty versus Arma 3. So if you're not familiar with Arma 3, it is a fully realistic military simulation video game to the point where there's nothing marking who your teammates are and who the enemies are. You just have to know who they are. When you shoot an enemy, it does not tell you if you hit them. It does not tell you if you killed them. You just have to look and see. If you don't see any more movement, you probably killed them, because that's how real life actually is.
Yeah.
I thought I would love it, and I played it once, and I was like, I don't know, man, this is too much. Call of Duty is obviously not as realistic, but Call of Duty is a much better gameplay experience, in my opinion. I think it's the same thing with Madden. I think a true simulation experience would have all kinds of issues. Like, again, if you want dropped picks and random inaccuracies, and if you just want all this randomness, sure, you could have a true football simulation. That doesn't make for a fun gameplay experience. That doesn't reward good user skill. And so I don't want Madden to be simulation. I want them to, at least in the competitive mode, I want them to remove randomness and reward player skill. I think that's the best thing they could do.
Well, it's funny. You made a hot take. I'm gonna make it even more of a hot take. I think the only reason why next gen is a thing is because of casuals. To be honest with you, I think the only reason why next gen is the way that it is because of casuals. They complained that users were like Superman. They were annoyed that, they were annoyed that wide receivers were fast and every route was crisp and all that stuff.
Right.
So
Yeah, that's
like,
right.
DBs can't play defense. Yeah.
That's exactly right. On next gen, the routes got way more rounded afterwards. No, you're 100% right. I was watching, you mentioned the user. I was watching a clip from Madden 21, and I watched myself run with a crosser, and then there was an in route coming the other way, and just on a dime, I instantly switched directions and covered it. But it rewarded good user skill, and it was tougher. It was just a tougher game, and so there was bigger skill gap.
Let's be honest, it was tough for a lot of these guys to pass. When you have a user that can move, you can't throw stupid things like you can throw next.
Exactly.
Man, there's been so many times I'm playing the slant and I'm going back to get the backside slant. I'm like, okay, he's gonna throw it. He throws it, and my guy's just too slow, or like he's too small to get to. I'm like, what are we doing? Because IRL that's picked off. If we're talking about realistic wise, if a great DB sees something and he's gonna go play that, realistically, either he's gonna knock it down or he's gonna pick it off. There's no way they're going to allow you to just throw stupid stuff around the field. So we're going to talk about realism.
The game is very, very forgiving now. And don't get me wrong, there obviously is still a skill gap. Otherwise, we wouldn't still see Henry win in almost every tournament, and the same guys in every tournament. So there is obviously still a skill gap, but I think that the skill gap has been compressed. It's been shrunk. I feel like on a Madden 21, there would be players who would have, like, we'll just say for me, players who have no business beating me. It's like on next gen, they can play you close because of just the random fluke in the game. I'm sure everyone feels that way, except for, I guess, the casuals. But everyone who plays the game seriously feels that way about the game.
Yeah, you kind of actually talked about the skill gap, about there being a little bit of skill gap. What is your overall thoughts on the current state of the skill gap right now after the patch? Do you think it's increased? Do you think the skill gap was more wider before the patch?
It's a great question, because defense is very tough right now. I think that having a lot of blitzes increase the skill gap, because if you don't use the blitzes properly, then you'll have bad defense. But if you know how to use the blitzes properly, then you'll have good defense. And we do still have Dollar. I mean, I'm in Dollar 3-2 right now. It's probably the most popular defense kind of on the more competitive side right now, other than John Beast and his 4-3 even 6-1
Yeah, but
blockchain
everybody's selling around
stuff.
6-1 now. Everybody's
That
selling around
yeah,
6-1 now.
that's crazy. But like dollar's still very
Yeah.
popular, and dollar's probably the
Yeah.
best for like true blitzing. Uh, I definitely feel like the skill gap has shrunk since the patch, and like the drops are a big part of that as well. Like like I think back to literally last night in the $50 money game, I went down 14-0 to a guy because on each drive he threw the ball right at my cornerback, and the interception gets dropped. And it's just like, if you give people enough chances, like especially with how defense is right now, you give them enough chances, they will move the ball down the field on you if they're halfway decent. And so yeah, I went down 14-0 to a guy, and I was just kind of like, I didn't panic that much because I was like, I know that if I just start catching the picks, like I'll win this game. And fortunately, the second half I did catch 2 picks, and so it all turned out okay. But yeah, it's just like, it feels weird to kind of just feel like a lot of random fluke goes against you, and just be like, I know this guy's not better than me, and he's winning by 2 scores right now. But that just kind of happens in this game.
Are we good?
Yeah, no. What are you thinking about the current state of competitive Madden? Like, I was talking about the NBA earlier, like, and I said it with W as well. You have like, Magic and Kareem, but then you also had like the bad eras of the NBA as well, where not as many people were watching. Do you think we're in a good era or a bad era right now?
That's a great question, especially because it depends on how you define good and bad. I would say that if you're a competitor, you'd probably say it's a good time because there's more money in it than ever before. They increase the number of tournaments, and so they increase the number of opportunities for you to make money. And so if you're trying to compete, it's probably in a good spot. For a viewer, I'm not so sure, because I feel like a lot of the casual audience doesn't even know about competitive Madden. I think that the people who do tune into the streams, they're doing it to get their free MUT players. I've heard it described pretty accurately as EA is just essentially view botting their own streams by giving people incentive to open the stream and like not even actually watch it. And so I remember even trying to find a bracket for one of the tournaments was almost impossible. Like that, there's like the website for competitive Madden is not good. I think their marketing for it is horrible. I heard a thing once that it was like they like barely even marketed this last tournament until like I don't know, the afternoon of or something. But so it's like I think a lot of people, in terms of like the viewers outside of, again, outside of like that tight ring of people who are really in tune with competitive Madden, I think anyone outside of that just doesn't even really know that competitive Madden's going on.
Yeah, I was trying to look for a photo of John Beast for our most recent thumbnail, and it took me so long to find like a proper one because there was like limited advertising, and most of the ones that were on there were like low quality or from like 2017 or like super out of date though. So I get that.
I think they're doing a horrible job right now of generating hype and also I'll say this. I think their new format, even though there's more tournaments, only having the live event be one day and being just the semifinals and finals, I think is also a detriment because it gives you less time to even get to know the player. Like there's such a big difference in seeing someone go from a field of 8 down to the end versus a field of 4 down to the end. Cause it's like, like TJ, like I still feel like I barely know TJ. Like I got to watch him in 2 games and it's over.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're doing a good job for the casual viewer. It's probably good for the competitor, but it's not good for like a viewership standpoint, in my opinion.
Because I was talking earlier. We were talking earlier on like one of our earlier episodes about TJ, right? And he had this. It might have been TJ. It might have been the other new guy, NC, right? I don't even know his name off the top of my head. Abram, right? And one of them made this really big leap. He was from last tournament, maybe like number 52, right, all the way up to number 2 on their like the Battle Eye leaderboard or something. But like during that ladder tournament, we weren't able to see one game. We had no clue what happened in those games, right?
Yeah.
Well, we know who won, right? I guess, but we don't know what actually happened. I don't get why they don't stream those games or find a way to make sure we can see all those games.
Yep,
that'd be cool.
I've heard plenty of people say it should be a requirement to stream your single elimination games, because it's super weird to be like, to just not know what happened, or you'll hear a streamer be like, yeah, they were only streaming it on Discord or something, because the pros have like, their own little Discord servers or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of actions that could be taken to build competitive Madden. And I think I guess contributing a little bit by doing like the YouTube videos, kind of breaking down the tournaments. But again, I think there's a lot of people who like, so 400,000 views on the Henry video, that's a lot more than the number of people who are watching the stream. And so that's people who are only knowing about it from YouTube after the fact, not actually being hyped to like watch it live.
Silva brought up something that, and I kind of wanted to bring it up quickly, but like one thing that they've taken away that I haven't seen in a while, I don't know about you guys, I haven't seen the club championships in a while.
I would love if they brought those back.
Which got a lot of people to watch, because it wasn't just, okay, like, hey, I'm rooting for this certain guy. You're rooting for your team as well. It's kind of like watching
exactly. NFL. Oh, absolutely. No, Civil and I talk a decent bit, and so we've talked about that plenty of times. Back in Madden 21 in the fall, I didn't even play MUT. I was still a regs player at the time, but even I watched the club championships, and back then you got to watch. There's a live event for every team's championship, and then the 32 person bracket. And so you got to really know these people and see them make these deep runs. And so not only was it just super exciting to watch, but a lot more people got to build names for themselves. There are still people I could name off the top of my head, pro players, who I only know of them because they were a club champion that year. And if they weren't a club champion, I never know them. And now these days, most of these tournaments, only 4 people go to live events. That's just so many fewer people that get to put their name out there. Now, EA obviously realized that they can make more advertising money by having fewer streams with larger view counts. And so that's why they did it like this. It's a lot easier to sell to advertisers to be like, look, we've got 50,000 people in the stream. Who cares if they're just leaving it open for a free card? There's 50,000 people in the stream. And so EA, everything they do, they're a company, everything they do is going to be about money. And that's just the harsh reality of it. And I think that they realized this format must be the way they can make the most money off competitive Madden. I don't think we'll ever get clubs back, because I don't see any way it could be making more money unless they did card giveaways for every stream, which they probably it's probably just like, for the card to be worth someone tuning in for, to give away that many free cards would just like, it would prevent people from buying packs, which EA also wants people to buy.
They could hand out like promo packs or something, like you watch like 30 minutes of a stream, you get like a pack for the most recent promo or something, and it might just be like a shitty pack, but at least it's something,
right? And that's what's tough, because I mean, you're not wrong, but if it's a shitty pack, then a lot of people probably wouldn't think it's worth tuning in. Like the reason people tune in, like this last one, you get the Paul Amal, he's like the best user in the game, or he's up there with the best users in the game. So it's a very valuable asset to your team. So it's a tough situation, but at the end of the day, EA is a company with the goal of making the most money possible. And the only thing that can save us is another company to give them competition. That's the only thing. And it doesn't seem like it's going to happen, at least not anytime soon.
Sadly. Yeah. Kind of with the competitive Madden, we asked W this earlier. He's probably the only person that gave us a different answer than a majority of the people that we've interviewed. We asked who his competitive GOAT was, and most people have said Henry. He said Problem. Who is your competitive GOAT all time?
It's a great question. So I totally understand why he says Problem. And I think it's a great answer. I have to say Henry, mainly because partly because I didn't really watch Problem in those tournaments back then.
Yeah.
And also just because Henry has 6 belts now, and what's the next highest? Is 4 the next highest?
I think 4 is the next highest.
So
it's
to
either 4 or
have
3.
Yeah, so it's like to be that consistent, and also there's more people playing the game now than ever before. There are more resources out there for all the glitch blitzes, the glitch plays, the glitch everything out there before. It's easier than ever to get tape on a game film on Henry than ever before.
Yeah.
So the fact that he is able to win 6 belts in this era where information is just so much more easily shareable, and like someone who played Henry can just immediately, they could record the game and immediately share that game with their crew, and now everyone in their crew has that game on. Like, even if it wasn't streamed, they obviously record it locally and share it with their crew. Like, it is so tough to do what he's done at that level of consistency in this era where information is more available than ever before. So for me, I gotta say Henry.
Yeah, you're contributing to that too, by the way. Those are your YouTube videos.
Yeah, no, and for what it's worth, I don't think my content is like, having an influence on like, the people like the stuff I break down about Henry's game is kind of obvious, whereas like his but at the same time, an example of just like information spreading would be like, I remember last year, like spamming buttons, he runs trips tight end, and he was in FNF, and he ran, you guys, I don't know if you remember, but like C routes would cook man coverage last year. Like the outside apprentice or Howard Master C route would cook man coverage. And I saw him do that in like an early FNF. And it's just like, I immediately was just like writing down notes, like, I gotta go try this out. And then it's like, sure enough, you end up seeing Henry using it as well in the MCS and everything. But it's just like, in the era before people were streaming, like, so say in the Problem Right era, it's just like you could keep that to yourself so much easier and bust it out just when you absolutely needed to. And it's just almost impossible these days to keep anything a secret. It's like, once you show something, once you put it out there, it's not a secret anymore. And so I don't know if I'm contributing to like revealing any of those, at least for the pros. Like, the pros are going to already know about that, but I will say I'm probably contributing to making some of that stuff more known to like the general audience. One that I'm particularly guilty of is back in Madden 22, RPO glitching.
Oh my God. Yeah.
That TikTok has 10 million views. So, oops.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
That's funny. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. But that was a wild time, the RPO glitching days.
Yeah, it's still a problem now. It's still bad. Still bad.
Yeah. But
it's still terrible.
But Darien might remember it was like gun wing slot week or something. It was an RPO peak, but you could just pull it with the quarterback, and with escape bars, you just instantly take off. Yeah. And because it's an RPO peak, the defenders would drop back until you even cross the line of scrimmage. No, it was actually like they had to ban the play from MCS.
I do not know that one. I had no clue about that.
Oh my God. Do you remember, like, oh my God, they had to do a whole thing about this. Do you remember when escape runners were first out in Madden 22, and you could essentially run around the backfield until defenders got tired and then outrun them into the end zone, to the point where they had to nerf QB stamina once you got behind the lines. People wouldn't do it anymore.
Yeah, that was crazy. I remember that. You just run around forever. I remember.
Yep, you could literally run around and tire out every defender and then run around them to the end zone.
Wait. So did QBs have more stamina than everyone? Or was
they didn't run out of stamina. They didn't run out of stamina. Yes,
behind the line of scrimmage.
Nice.
Yeah, they didn't run. Yeah. So they started nerfing them and started now making them lose stamina. Now you can't do it.
Another thing in 2022 was just the glitchiest year ever. I had a TikTok on it that did super well. Civ did it in his videos. The double pass. You like
yeah.
put your tight end
I
on like
remember
a little
that.
flat route, you throw it out to him,
Yep.
pitch it back to the quarterback, and the whole defense runs in, and you
That's
just
kind
launch
of.
it.
I don't want to be like weird, but isn't that kind of realistic though? Because like a lot
Uh,
of teams have been running that in real life, like the flea flicker shit, and it's like it
so what's
works.
funny, the reason those TikToks did so well is because there was lots of debate in the comments of being like, that's actually a legal play. It's not a legal play because it's 2 forward passes. Even though the
Yeah.
ball is caught behind the line of scrimmage, forward pass just means the ball is caught further ahead of where it was thrown from.
Yep.
So a flea flicker is not 2 forward passes. A flea flicker is like a handoff and then a pitch back.
Do they have a flea flicker in Madden? Do they have
They
that?
used to. They don't these days.
I don't know why they don't
they
do
don't.
that anymore.
Yeah,
That's like a major play in the NFL now, is because people run it like at least once a week. Like one team does it once a week.
They used to have it. I don't know where it went. There's all kinds of crazy plays. If you want to see all the crazy plays that EA could be using, get the NCAA 14 either on your PlayStation or like I've got it on a mod on PC.
Yeah, I have it.
I miss those days.
Yeah, you should get the revamped mod on PC.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. But there's some of the craziest plays you've ever seen in there. It's just like, why can't these be in Madden, man? Like they've obviously got these.
I don't know if you guys remember this specifically, but it was in current gen. I remember it was Madden 21 current gen or 22 current gen, like past gen. But in Patriots playbook, they had a halfback run out pass or halfback slip or something, and it would just hand it up, like you'd toss it to your fullback. No, your halfback, and he could just throw it, and it was like a streak and a corner.
Oh, like a halfback toss pass.
Yeah, that was in Patriots book, but it was the only running back passing play. And I remember
that.
I had a Raiders theme team, right? And they came out with Ultimate Legends Bo Jackson, and they gave him, like, they glitched it to boost his overall. He had 99 throw under pressure and 99 deep accuracy, like just to boost his rating because he was dog shit otherwise. I also remember Vince Wilfork, my 99 D tackle. He had 99 throw under pressure as well. They used to do that back in the day, and I don't know if many people knew that. They boost the quarterback ratings on like D tackles, halfbacks, wide receivers, and they used to do that. And I would run halfback toss out, and I would, they also didn't change it that if you audibled into it, you could use Hot Route Master. You could use Hot Route Master before, like if you started in a regular passing play. If you started in a regular passing play, audibled into the halfback passing play, Hot Route Master still worked. So you could put corners, you could put straight, you could do C routes. But I would be doing it with Bo Jackson every single play. 99 speed, 99 throw power.
That would have been a 10 million view TikTok right there.
Oh yeah, you really should have did something with that for sure.
I had no idea. Missed opportunity.
It's funny. It's funny because we talk about this a lot off camera and off streams and stuff. Like Madden 20 is arguably the most broken game of all time, but it was fun to play. Like for me, broken games aren't that bad if they're fun. Like you got a lot. Like you had people running under center. I know people running strong close. People running tight offsets. People running bunch. You had people running stretch. But like the game was objectively broken as hell. It's more broken than probably any game that's broken after it.
But also so fun and a high skill gap. It's something that I talked to Civil about because it was a run meta in all the comp scene, but he was like the best players, they were labbing gap shoots for every single run. And so it's like these days there isn't really gap shoots. Like they don't really exist. Like in theory, yes, but not really. But like back then, that's an example of skill gap. Being able to lab gap shoots for all the different runs is a way you could separate yourself from a player who didn't lab those gap shoots. So
that's crazy. It's crazy to think about. Yeah, but kind of getting back into everything. Like, do you think your job as a content creator? Do you think like it's kind of like, let's just say, affected your ability to enjoy the game more than you did as a casual player?
Definitely a little bit because, like, for example, if I have a stream where things just go horrible, and I haven't had one of those in a little while, fortunately. But if you just get on stream and it's just a bad day. We all have a bad day of Madden sometimes, right?
For real, yeah.
So it's like if that ever happens on stream, like it's not a fun feeling because everyone on stream, it's like, and they don't even know. Like I could be playing Timmy Two Shoes or I could be playing fucking Dubby, And honestly, a lot of the people in the chat wouldn't know the difference, especially streaming on YouTube. They have no idea. And so it is kind of weird. Like winning is kind of the only thing that really matters in all sports. Winning is nothing's more important than winning in pretty much any sport. Like that's the goal. And so it is kind of frustrating at times. Like if you get a stream where it's like you get matched up with like people, like this guy is like he's comp or he's like a real demon, and you end up losing a couple games on stream. It can be a little bit stressful because you're like, oh, do people think I'm trash now? Like I know I'm not trash. I know that these guys are going to beat 99.9% of players in the world, and I played them close. But it can make it a little bit stressful. It also can be frustrating when, like, for a while, I would send a bunch of glitches and feedback and stuff to people I know at EA. Like, and it takes time. Like, I would take my recordings, I would clip them. I would even like do little edits on them, like my YouTube videos, like just with like freeze frames and arrows to like point things out. And the people I'm sending it to, they're not the ones ultimately that are making the decisions on what gets changed. So it's not on them, but it is very frustrating to give a bunch of feedback and put a lot of effort into trying to help make the game better and have it amount to nothing. And so I would say those two aspects can make the game more frustrating. But at the same time, like, it also doing content can also be really fulfilling. Like if a YouTube video does well because people are finding it valuable, or like if a stream goes really well, like last night, and you feel like you're really locked in and playing well, and the chat's having a blast, like that can be extremely fulfilling to be doing content on this game as well. And so I definitely think that you experience both ends of the spectrum, and that just comes with the territory of making content.
Kind of end off the interview, we kind of wanted to show you something. We've been showing everybody that has come on the podcast. We did a little bit of a skill.
Damn.
We had you a little low. I apologize, man.
Yeah, no, it's all you can. Hey, zero ranking. MMG. I'm the same rank. Oh my.
Yeah,
I feel. We've definitely had to go back on this a little bit.
It was so weird with you because I was so used to watching you just break down things. I hadn't actually seen you play the game.
That's fair.
Play competitively. So it was weird ranking you. It was weird ranking Eric for me, for sure.
No, that's completely fair. Because honestly, since my content's not about me playing the game, so it's not like if people don't like watch me stream, then you really don't have a lot to go off of. So I'm giving you guys shit, but like I totally get that. Like it's pretty tough to evaluate someone who you don't get to see play the game. So I totally get it.
Yeah. I feel like we're like those guys you were talking about in the stream, like, oh, come in, I'll take your 50, take your 25, that kind of thing. I feel like
hey, you never know. I mean, you guys might clean my clock. You never know.
Hey man, but do you agree though? Do you think there's people that we should change? People that you play that you think are better than others on the list that we may have higher than?
So looking at the top, WK Max Skimbo, obviously S tier. I don't know enough about Black Rain or Form to say where they should be. Civil, I think, should be S. I mean, he was top 32 of the first MCS tournament.
That was messed. That was messed up.
So I think he should probably be S. Chaos, I have no clue how much Chaos plays the game these days.
Me neither.
Like I know he used to, make live events and stuff. I don't know if he plays. I think he's like a basketball coach or something now.
That's an update. We didn't know that.
I think I don't even know for sure. I don't know for sure.
Wow.
Throne is obviously really good at the game. I mean, Throne, he labs with some of the best players in the world. Like he labs with he's friends with like Wesley and K-Mac and stuff. So
the only reason we had him that low was because at the time of that recording, he had not uploaded a Madden 24 video yet.
that's fair.
Uploaded.
No, that's fair. I respect that. No, so he could maybe be S tier, but A's probably fine as well.
I said if Throne uploaded more, I would have had him S. If Throne uploaded more and we see more of him play Madden 24, I would have for sure had him S.
No, that's fair.
He's not responding to your Twitter DM, man. You can stop glazing, man. He's not responding to the Twitter DM.
Okay.
So like, I would maybe move Civil up and maybe even Throne up. TD and TSAP I think are good in A. I don't know anything about Retro. I think CC's decent. Maze is good. Xerxes in B. Isn't Xerxes just
Everyone
like
has
terrible?
said that. Everyone said that.
Everyone has said
MMG.
Xerxes is
Everyone has said
garbage.
below
Everyone has
MMG.
said that. Everybody would come on. Sybil said it. Dubby said it. You've said it now. Everyone that says Xerxes is terrible.
Brett will say the same thing. One I did want to say is KKS. Everyone has said KKS should be higher than they said he should be above like B tier range, but we had him in F because they say he's like competent. Have you played him? Do you have an opinion?
I don't know enough to know if he's any good.
Okay.
To be completely honest. So yeah, I can't comment on that. Maze is pretty good. If I was going to redo these, I mean, it would depend on where everyone else falls. I feel like Maze would be similar to TD Barrett.
Okay.
Like, okay. I mean, Maze, he plays the game a lot. Again, someone who's he's pretty in tune with the meta.
Yeah.
He plays money games. Like, I think Maze is pretty solid.
Okay.
I think CC's probably fine. MMG, dude, MMG's got to be the bottom tier, I think.
We like MMG too much. That's bias. That's
MMG's he's the most entertaining guy on Madden YouTube. Like, incredible. Yeah. But just like the few times I clicked in, like, I don't think he's got a single clue what's actually
the thing
going
with
on
that is that MMG can look somewhat competent against the people that he plays against because not many people know this, and I don't even know if he knows this, but his Wheel of Mutt seasons and everything he plays, they're on rookie division. They're like, like most people play like Legend, MVP. Right. He plays on the bottom one because he'll lose a season or whatever, and it'll bring him down. He'll win a season.
No, that's fair. And I don't blame him for doing that at all because his focus is the content. Like he's not trying to be a comp player, right? Yeah. So I'm not saying he should be good or he should be playing higher. I'm just saying I don't think he's good at the game, but he's not trying to be good at the game.
Okay.
And also the CFM guys he plays with, he has a CFM. They are garbage. Mm-hmm. They are God, that pisses me off because they come in my Xbox DMs all the time. All the time I will get Xbox messages from MMG people because I will go and I played a season in there and I went like 15-2. I got kicked. I got kicked because of how good I was. And I'm ass. I am dog shit. I am really bad at the game.
Here's my way to evaluate. Does he use coach suggestions?
Yes, he does.
Okay.
He does.
In my opinion, if you're using coach suggestions, you go to the bottom. Yeah. Like that's just I mean, and again, it's coach suggestions. What's that?
Do you have MMG below Flight? Flight's the bottom.
Flight's
whoa. Let's relax.
Flight's pretty bad too.
Flight's terrible. Let's be honest.
He's above you boy pizza. He beat you boy pizza.
So I would say like within each tier, I don't know where I'd place everyone. I would just put MMG in the bottom tier.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not trying to like shit on anyone or anything.
No. Everyone has agreed unanimously with what you've said. We've had like 4 guests. Every single one has agreed with every comment.
Yeah.
All right, that's fair. That's fair.
It's pretty universally agreed on.
Yeah. Coach suggestions is just kind of, and again, people should play the game how they want to. There's a ton of ways to play the game. That's the great thing about Madden is everyone can play the game in a million different ways. But if it's ranking like how good you are, like if you're playing on coach suggestions, it just means you're not familiar with metas. You're not even looking like you're not even going through like, let me. There's not a lot of processing going on compared to like running an actual scheme.
See, the thing with that is that I'm not defending coach suggestions because I do get the thought process, but what I'm saying is that if you can win with coach suggestions, wouldn't that make you better than somebody who beat somebody with the meta using meta? Is what I'm thinking. If you beat meta with coach suggestions, wouldn't that make you better than somebody?
It depends on who you're playing.
Right.
Like, if you're playing someone who's just really bad, then it doesn't mean much. And also, like, I will say that, like, it depends on how many hot routes you're doing. Like, if you had Hot Route Master, then you could call almost any play and build the route combo you want anyway.
Yeah, just flood concepts every single play, right?
Right. I don't think the people in coach suggestions probably aren't doing that. They're probably not picking a play and then putting 4 hot routes on the field to build the route combo they want, right?
Just halfback stretch and stick. Yeah.
So when I watch Flight play, which not very often, but he will just call the play. I don't think he makes hot routes. I think he just runs the play. And so again, everyone should play the game how they want, but being good at the game is about you just understanding if you're going at zone coverage, it's about spacing, flood concepts, high lows, just pulling zone defenders apart to get guys open. Yeah. And there's certain route combos that are really good at that. And if you're not building those route combos or calling plays that allow you to build those route combos, then you're just kind of, I don't know. You're not playing the game at a high level. Same thing. If you're going against man coverage, there are certain routes that beat man coverage. If you're not putting man beating routes on the field to beat man coverage, again, you're just kind of, I don't know. Like you could be skilled at like maneuvering the pocket and just like, I don't know, playmaking your receiver open. So like, there's definitely still going to be skill involved there, but like once again, this just, you're not really playing the game at a high level if you're not trying to diagnose the coverage and build your route combos accordingly based on the coverage.
It's always funny, like when I go back and watch some of my old YouTube streams, I would just randomly stream just to stream. Like it's funny watching like, oh my God, like I would actually call plays out of coach suggestions. I would call defense out of coach suggestions. And now I could never see myself doing that. I couldn't do that.
We all I started out in coach suggestions. I think everyone starts out in coach suggestions. You know, it can be like, especially if you're somewhat new to the game, it's intimidating to go into the formations and see 20 shotgun formations with 9 or 12 plays in each one. So like, and it's just kind of like, what do I do? And that's kind of, you know, the goal of like having like an ebook site is to cut down on that almost paradox of choice for people to where it's like, there's 400 plays in this playbook. What play do I call? And in the ebook, like you can be like, call this play, make these adjustments, make these reads. You kind of simplify and streamline that for people. But you know, for people who aren't doing that, coach suggestions, we all start on coach suggestions. So again, I'm not, maybe I was too harsh on coach suggestions, but like if we're evaluating pure Madden skill, the first step you have to take to being a better Madden player is get out of coach suggestions and run a particular scheme. That's kind of the first step, I would say.
That's Spruce Goose exclusive for the Retro Turf Talk. I actually kind of wanted to end off with kind of asking you a question since we were talking about coach suggestions. Mm-hmm. Do you think it would be a good way to evaluate pro skill if they all ran coach suggestions against each other and we just saw who was better? Or do you think the comp is like the meta is like that's like something that's something that you always see. That's something that you always see in these conversations. Oh, they only run meta. So I'm thinking like, okay, if you guys want them to run coach suggestions and you just see who's better at Madden, simply making reads.
Well, I would say earlier we talked about trying to reduce randomness. And I would say coach suggestions is very inherently random. And so if you luck into getting like, I don't know, you luck into getting double post for a play, or like in a previous Madden getting PA boot over in your coach suggestions.
Yeah, and you just win the game.
That would be very beneficial. And if you go through your coach suggestions and you have quick slants and all hitches, that is the bad end of the spectrum in terms of the randomness. And so like it would be interesting, it would be entertaining for sure. To do a whole tournament, like that would actually be a hilarious, like, you know, spring tournament, like kind of after the Madden Bowl's over, and all coach suggestions comp tournament would be wild.
That would be hilarious.
So like great content, but in terms of evaluating skill, I would say absolutely not. And because knowledge gap is a big part of the Madden skill gap. What, like, learning the game and being able to manipulate the game how you want is a big part of what distinguishes the best Madden players from everybody else. And in order to do that, like you have to be calling formations and making hot routes and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense though. That makes sense. Kind of.
But great idea, like for content.
That would be funny. That would be
It'd
hilarious.
be a lot of fun.
That would be fun. I think that would actually probably do their best amount of views. I think that would probably be the most watched.
It would be hilarious. It'd be awesome.
It would be hilarious. Yeah, it would be. Kind of want to end off there though. Thank you for coming on, Spruce. You know, Absolutely. It was amazing. We talked for about 20 minutes before we started recording. We kind of gone on for like an hour and 30 minutes. So I would definitely say that's a great episode.
This is the longest episode by far, I think.
Bro,
I apologize. My answers are long-winded, and I apologize.
Yeah. No, it's a great conversation.
It was entertaining for us. Thank you though for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me, guys. It was a blast.
Yeah. But kind of to you guys, like, comment, subscribe, comments to more guys you want to see on the podcast. We try. We try. You know, we slide in DMs. You know, I made myself look like a fool. I don't want to show them because I don't want to get embarrassed, but. You know, we do our best to get people on. We do our best to get people on though. But thank you guys for watching. Yeah, love you guys.